Well, on the same day that we got the news that the Big 12 said they don't want to merge with the Pac 12, we also heard that the Big 12 may be getting a boost from Notre Dame, of all places. Not what I expected to be reading today, but the report comes to us from CBS Sports. Welcome into the channel. I am John Kurtz. Here on this channel, we talk college football all week, specifically conference realignment, and specifically from a Big 12 slant. If you're a college football fan, a Big 12 fan, or a fan of realignment, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I go live on Wednesday and Sunday nights as well. Those chats are a lot of fun, and I sprinkle in content throughout the week. Here's what we have today. I thought, the bombshell of the day was going to be this, what I'm about to tell you about right now, which is the Notre Dame news that NBC is sniffing around for a conference to pair with Notre Dame, basically, in terms of who they're going to invest in TV rights-wise. That felt like a bombshell big enough. Great news for the Big 12. Then, of course, at the end of the day, we got Pete Thamel breaking the news that the Big 12 had said no to the Pac-12 after considering a full merger between the leagues over the weekend. The Big 12 decided basically it's not financially viable. If this is true, what we're hearing from Dennis Dodd, and again, some of the things that he has reported throughout this process, some of the sources he's quoted, it hasn't made the most sense in the world, but Dennis Dodd is a pretty respected name at CBS Sports. If we are to fully buy into this and fully believe this, I think it would be nothing but great news for the Big 12. If you have a partner like NBC potentially willing to go in on this to supplement Notre Dame. Like, I'm not the biggest Notre Dame fan in the world, but if you're supplementing their TV coverage, nothing but good things can happen there from just viewers sticking around. More on that in just a moment. Let me get you the nuts and bolts of the story first. So Dennis Dodd says, Notre Dame would remain independent if it can earn at least $75 million annually in media rights revenue from current broadcast partner NBC, sources told CBS Sports. The Fighting Irish's deal with the network is set to expire in 2025. For NBC to feel comfortable raising Notre Dame's valuation to such a level, it is seeking, quote, shoulder programming, in this case, games played before and or after Notre Dame's contests, from a Power 5 conference to enhance its college football coverage. When such a move had been speculated previously, the Big Ten was the conference mentioned most often as a target. However, the Big 12 has emerged as a strong option to fill NBC's shoulder programming needs. The Big Ten is expected to announce a new $1 billion media rights deal, possibly as early as this month, with Fox as its primary partner. It's believed to be seeking 2 to 3 other partners to air its programming, with NBC reportedly among the bidders. So this will be great news, my friends, not just because it's an entity that's not ESPN or Fox getting involved here, and especially ESPN. I think you guys know where I and most people stand on that. Do not want to deal with them anymore. Getting somebody else involved is great. Ramping up with extra competition from an outside network is great. New media partner, to me, just is awesome. The Big 12 kind of needs a fresh face here. Brett Yormark's talking about being younger, hipper, and just changing the brand of this conference. Yeah, I think it would help a lot if you have a primary partner that is somebody totally different than who you've been working with. But the biggest part of this is, like it or not, people across the country watch Notre Dame. They will watch Notre Dame football. And if you're the game either right before or right after, you just stand naturally to gain some extra viewers because of that. And people that may not have been exposed to Big 12 football, you kind of have to go out of your way to watch Notre Dame games right now on NBC, right? People that would not have gone out of their way to watch the Big 12 before may get force-fed the end of an exciting TCU-Texas Tech game, or a game between Matt Campbell and Luke Fickell, two of the hottest head coaches in college football, or Dave Aranda and Luke Fickell, right? These are all great things for the league. We all say over and over again, this is going to be a really exciting league with a lot of parity and teams from top to bottom that can really match up with each other. If we believe in that product being super fun and really exciting like we do, then the more like casual viewers you can expose that to, the better, for sure. And this is perhaps the best way to do that. If you're going to be linked at the hip with Notre Dame and be leading into or coming out of a Notre Dame game, you're just going to gain extra viewers, and more people will probably have to be exposed to something. I mean, a lot of times it's very easy to hate on something if you never actually have to be around it or see it. I mean, I would equate this to like people that just have never been around certain types of people, nationalities, countries, whatever. It's very easy to hate when you haven't actually been there. But then you get there and realize like, oh, hey, like these people are kind of like me. We all sort of want the same things. It takes away like that factor of, oh, I can hate on this. No, I've actually experienced this. The Big 12, I think, is very apropos to that, right? Like everybody, it's been a punchline forever in the college football world. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you haven't really had to watch Big 12 football. If you're trying to pay attention to the college football playoff all that much, outside of maybe some Oklahoma games, you haven't had to do a whole lot of that. Now you may be doing more of that, and you may be coming around to like, oh, hey, this actually is a pretty fun, enticing, exciting product. So to me, this is just great news for a number of reasons for the league. That, the potential exposure there for the league being one of the biggest ones. If you're really trying to build that brand of the Big 12 like Brett Yormark wants to into a new era here, this is a great way to do it. So I think Monday was a very good day of news for the Big 12. Time will tell for sure, but things definitely seem to be moving in the right direction. By the way, a little bit more from Dennis Dodd here in the article. He says, outgoing Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby had not heard anything specific on NBC targeting the Big 12 for additional programming, but said such a move makes sense. That's a quote, makes sense. The Big 12 may be one of the few leagues with inventory available as its media rights deal expires in 2025, same as Notre Dame. So that's a key point here. The Big 12's media deal expires at the same time as Notre Dame, so it would make a lot of sense for NBC to just pick both of them up. Brett Yormark replaces Bowlesby as Big 12 commissioner on August 1st. In a press conference at Big 12 Media Days last week, Yormark said the conference is, quote, open for business. Notre Dame's name has come up again in conference realignment amid USC and UCLA's decision to join the Big Ten because of the value estimated at $80 to $100 million annually. It was thought Notre Dame had a generational decision to make as to whether or not it should remain independent. NBC's negotiations are expected to extend across the next 2 to 3 weeks, according to a source. The network has been the rights holder for Notre Dame home football games since 1991. The network currently pays $15 million per year, but Notre Dame is earning $22 million annually due to the backloaded nature of the contract. So, I mean, that's a whole different story, how Notre Dame's only getting $22 million per year from this. I don't know what the breakdown is of what they're getting for all their other, like from the ACC. I think they're getting a chunk from the playoff, whatever. Notre Dame seems like they stand to make a lot of money here. But if we're talking about the next 2 or 3 weeks that they can make that decision on Notre Dame, maybe that means things really will move a lot faster with some of this in the Big 12 than what we originally thought. And I'm talking about expansion. I'm talking about, hey, when will the Pac-12 numbers come out around the same time? Brett Yormark may have a really busy first month in office before the games actually kick off at the end of August, first week of September. I think this actually could be a really busy time for Yormark when not long ago I thought this may all die down a little bit right now. There's a lot of action, a lot of irons in the fire right now, and a lot of things that could affect the Big 12 potentially in a very, very positive way. So definitely stay tuned here on the channel. I'll keep you updated on all of it. You guys know my live shows are typically Wednesday and Sunday night. This week may be a little bit tricky, but we'll see with everything happening. I'm going to try my best to get you a show on Wednesday, but Sunday for sure. We'll be there with a live show. Subscribe, hit the bell if you haven't already so you know when I drop content or when I go live. And please spread the word to your friends. If you have friends and family that you think would be interested in the channel or fan groups on Facebook that you think would enjoy this, whether that's fans of a certain school, fans of a certain conference, college football, etc., let's continue to grow this channel. I appreciate each and every single one of you that have helped me do that, and I hope that the content, you're enjoying it here. You can support me on Venmo, by the way, at John-Kurtz-4 as well if you are so inclined. Appreciate you all, and I will talk to you soon.